So in terms of the changes and things that we're seeing in our industry, you were talking a little bit, I think it was on Real Deal as well, about your map room and about artificial intelligence. And I think one of the takeaways was that it's not going to be artificial intelligence replacing our jobs. It's going to be people that know how to use artificial intelligence. Those people are going to be the ones, those brokers, other professionals that are going to get ahead. Can you expand a little bit on what you mean and how you guys are utilizing technology?
Sure. Well, very simply, if you make 10 prospecting calls a day versus making 200 prospecting calls a day, who's likely to get better results? If you market your property to 100 investors a week versus marketing to 2,000 investors a week, who's likely to produce a better result? And you go on and on with examples, but what artificial intelligence does is it gives the individual much more horsepower to do things more efficiently and effectively. And so we're using AI in three ways. One, on the prospecting front, getting to more people more quickly in a more effective manner. Secondly, we are using it to market the properties that we are currently handling. And then thirdly, interpreting market data. And if follow me on social media, I'm a very big proponent of proprietary databases, procuring your own data. That gives you a competitive advantage. You have something nobody else has. Anyone can pull a report. A high school kid could pull a report from a third-party aggregator. You're not really differentiating yourself that way. But one of the interesting things about the data interpretation is that while it probably has the most upside potential, also is going to be the most difficult for the industry to utilize, mainly because most data sets are not that accurate. And for data sets to be accurate, and one of the main thesis of data interpretation is that absolute numbers don't really mean very much. It's all the relationship that number has to others. And are the numbers going up? Are they going down? To what extent are they going up? Are they going down? And to illustrate that, if I told you in 2019 in Manhattan, there's 26.3 billion in sales volume, you really don't know what to think about that, right? As a guy from Toronto, you're in the real estate business. Well, what is that? Is that a good number, a bad number? Well, if I tell you that in 2015, at the peak of the market, it was 57.4 billion. And in 2020, during the pandemic, it dropped to 11.1 billion. All of a sudden, the 26.3 starts to have some feel to it. In the same way, it's the relationship between the numbers that really matter. And the relationship loses integrity if the methodology for determining the numbers is not consistent over the time period that you're looking at. And I know that, if you ask someone to calculate a cap rate, are you looking at trailing 12? Are you looking at forward 12? Are you making projections for vacancies? What are you projecting for vacancies? What's your stabilized vacancy factor? All these different things. Everyone has a different methodology for how you create data sets. But if the methodology is not consistent, the relationship loses something. And so that's what we're really excited about, is they have data sets now that are 40 years old that have used the same exact models, the same approach, the same methodology for calculating the data. So there is integrity between the numbers. Now we're trying to use AI to determine what predictive things can come out of the data sets based on comparing the fluctuations in these values to various niche specific metrics like rents and occupancies and things like that, but then also looking at macroeconomic factors and to see if there is a high correlation for telegraphing changes in the direction of the market based on a metric or a group of metrics. And we'll see what it can produce, but we're really in the heat of trying to figure that out now.